Well, it is good to be here tonight. As many of you know, I spent a week in Mexico last week. My wife and I celebrated our 20-year anniversary. It was a wonderful experience. Thank you. You know what's interesting about it, though, is we were flying down there, and then we flew back home. You know, it was a several-hour, connecting flight. And I was thinking, we were not designed to fly in a metal tube going through the air at about 600 miles an hour. We just simply weren't, God didn't design us to have that. And so because of that, it created a stress on my body. And I absolutely knew by the time I got home Saturday evening, I was so subluxated. As much as a relaxing time as I had, I was absolutely ready for my adjustment. And I was thinking, people have stuff like that happen all the time. And they don't even know that it's causing damage to them. In fact, some people will actually feel pain, maybe have some neck tension like I did, and they'll think, oh, I can pop these pills and the pain goes away, and they think they're okay, right? But they're really not okay. There's still an underlying problem. And so what's interesting is some of those people, when they have that pain, they'll actually go find a chiropractor, which is a good thing, right? It's much better than taking drugs. So they go to a chiropractor, and what happens after they start getting adjusted? Their pain goes away. And they think, wow, this is awesome. Chiropractic works to take pain away. How many people that are out in our community, if you were to go up to them and say, what is the purpose of chiropractic? Do you think they would say something like, oh, they might crack your bones and make you feel better? The majority of them would think it's strictly a pain relief model, right? Well, what Dr. Chris is going to share with you tonight is that pain relief is one of the lowest rungs of the ladder. It's when you start viewing your chiropractic as something so much bigger than just pain relief. That's where you start to get the true blessing of chiropractic. I mean, I think of people like Brenda came in today, and she's been adjusted for a few weeks now. But because of what she has learned about being healthier, she has also made other positive lifestyle changes. And she shared with us today, it's been 3 days since she smoked a cigarette. Isn't that cool? Then I think of guys like Jeremiah. Some of you may know Jeremiah. He's autistic. And what was interesting is because Christy came in today, Christy Vickers, one of our other patients, she came in and she said, I noticed that Jeremiah is acting a little bit differently today. He usually is just kind of hanging out in the kids' room, by himself, reading and just kind of playing by himself. A lot of autistic children do that. But she said, do you see him running around today? And he's playing with my daughter Kendra. He's created there's some interaction now. There are things chemically that are changing for him. See, that's what I want you to view about chiropractic, is it's about optimal health. It's not about just pain relief. It's about optimal health. But that optimal health can only come to you, it can only come to me, when I and you fully buy in to the principles of chiropractic. That it's so much beyond just pain relief. That you can have amazing life changes. So, I'm excited to hear what Dr. Chris has to share with us about how we can achieve optimal health. Let's give him a hand.
All right. Okay, well, I am also excited because exactly like Dr. Bry was telling us, chiropractic and your health is so much more than just how you feel. I just want to share a quick story with you guys. See, because your health is a long-term process, right? It takes us our entire lives to be healthy, right? In fact, I put this picture up because I had the opportunity to go to Hawaii with my family when I was in college. You see, this is a path cut through the jungle, and this is This is on Maui at the Seven Sacred Pools. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. It's really awesome. Absolutely one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And there is a trail that runs through the jungle. And it's about 4 miles through the jungle. And they literally have to go in every day and cut back the weeds and the brush and everything so that you can find your way through the jungle to what's on the other end. And you could see how if you were to get off of this path, nobody may ever find you, would they? And certainly you may never find your way back to the path, would you? But if you stay on the path, if you commit yourself and you don't stray, then eventually you may find yourself at the base of a 400-foot waterfall. And it may be one of those images that you never forget. And that is exactly like your health. Because it's so easy, right? I guarantee you when you leave here, you may be hungry. And it would be easy to stop at McDonald's and grab a hamburger on the way home, wouldn't it? Is that good for you? No, it's terrible for you. So if we can stay on the path and do the right things in our health, that's when we can climb that ladder that is your health. Because like Dr. Brad started saying, pain is on the bottom, right? That's really the first step. And what I'm going to tell you about tonight is really the 10 steps that you really can go through while you're under care that is going to lead you to optimal health. You see, each one of us was born with the innate ability to be healthy, right? And is it in our genes? Well, some of us can be healthy with good genes. Can most of us? No. But all of those choices that you make, that staying on the path, influences how your genes are actually expressed. So people say, well, is heart disease genetic? Well, yeah, sure, it's genetic if your dad ate McDonald's every day for his entire life, and then you grew up and you decided to eat McDonald's for your entire life. Well, yeah, I guess that is a generational thing, right? But is it your genes? No, we can actually manipulate how our genes express themselves. Like, does anybody here exercise? Right? So do you find yourself, you may have more energy, right, after you exercise? You feel better, right? Well, that's because you're affecting how your genes are working. You're ramping up all that production of energy because your body's used to the stress of the exercise, right? How many people, is there anyone here that's on the ideal protein diet that we're doing in here, the weight loss thing? Well, what it does is it causes your body to ramp up its production of fat-burning enzymes. So it's literally helping you. It's changing your genes, changing how they're expressed so that you can be healthier, so that your body will do what you want it to do. So that your health isn't governed by your genes. It's governed by your choices. So as we said, the first step is that, pain and fatigue that you may feel, right? When you're, when you're number one out of alignment, but when you're unhealthy, right? How many people here found chiropractic because they were in pain? Wow, that's actually not as many as I thought that I would get. Okay, a few more hands went up. And that's not uncommon. I mean, I would say that 80 or 90% of the people that walk through these doors come in because they're in pain. And the first thing we have to realize is, like we said, that's the lowest rung of that ladder of health. And the second one is their restricted motion. Because if you recall, all that restricted motion, right, in your joints, right, that's what causes you to go from here to here, right? That lack of motion in your joints, eventually, that's going to cause that scar tissue is going to lead to that arthritis, and that arthritis is going to lead to inflammation between your joints and right where those nerves come out. Right in here, you get the tissue swells up, and eventually you get that nerve compression. And just the weight of a dime can cause you to lose up to 60% of the function of that nerve. Just the weight of a dime. So you can see how important it is that just those minor deviations in your spine can have such a profound effect on your overall health. So I put this car up there because does this look like a car that's been very well maintained over time? No, it looks like it's seen its fair share of weather, right? Well, I was talking to a patient the other day who was in for their report of findings, and they were afraid to commit to care because their insurance wouldn't cover their care. And in fact, is there anyone in here that their insurance is contributing to their care? That's an interesting statistic, isn't it? So actually, probably less than about 10% of our patients actually get reimbursed. And my question is, I bet this person had car insurance, didn't they? Did their car insurance do anything to help them maintain their car? Does it pay for oil changes? Does it pay for you to keep your tires aligned and fresh rubber on the road? No. And does your health insurance pay for your gym membership? No. That's one of the things you got to do to maintain your body, right? Does it? Will your health insurance pay for you to go on a vacation? Did Dr. Brad, did your health insurance pay for you to go on vacation?
Absolutely not.
And what did it do for your health? How do you feel now that you just spent a week in Mexico?
Now that I got adjusted, I'm feeling amazingly well.
So you see, the things that we should be doing to help ourselves, the insurance company doesn't care about. They're exactly that. They're not really interested in your health, are they? So my question is, does anybody know what kind of car that is? Just out of curiosity. Can you see it through the weeds?
Looks like a Mustang.
It's a Camaro, actually. It's a Camaro. So my question is, as we age, do you want to end up the broken down car in the weeds? Or do you want to make sure that you maintain yourself and you can stay the Super Sport Z that you were in your youth? Right? I know I want to. Absolutely. And my car insurance would never pay to keep my car looking that nice. So let's keep that in mind. I have a patient who he'll say to me every once in a while, he says, he said, Chris, I'm going to live until I die. And I smile at him. I said, well, you're going to live a little bit more after we get you adjusted. And he smiles and he gets his adjustment and he's a better person for it. The fourth stage is postural balance. And you notice we're only a few steps up from pain now, right? We're only on the fourth rung of the ladder. And your posture, one of the coolest things that we see as chiropractors is when our patients actually notice that their posture changes. It's funny because I have a patient who, he's been under care for about a month, and he came in one day, he's like, man, I was looking in the mirror, and I can't believe, I look like a different person. He said, man, I used to stand like this, and now I feel so much looser. I can, move around. And I started to explain to him about these rungs on the ladder. I said, yeah, and you were in pain before you got here, weren't you? And he said, yeah, I was. And I said, you see how just changing your posture is going to affect how you feel. And I said, and if you're feeling better and now your posture gets better, what do you think is what do you think that's doing for your nervous system? And what do you think that's doing for your health? And he said, I know I'm better. I know I'm better for it. And then I told him about one of the more famous quotes in chiropractic that everybody knows about is something that Thomas Edison actually said. Thomas Edison isn't a doctor. Well, he wasn't involved in healthcare at all, was he? Right? Outside of the light bulbs that we have here, right? He said, the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and the cause and prevention of disease. In the care of the human frame. He's not even a doctor and he's got this figured out, guys. So you can see how just small changes in your posture, like we said, the weight of a dime can have such an impact on your health. Because as we correct your posture, posture is our best outward sign of the structure in your spine. Because as your posture improves, we know that we're removing your subluxations, right? Because several subluxations add up to create your whole posture, right? So you see how these rungs of the ladder are fitting together. And as we correct these subluxations, you can see how someone's posture improves. And you can see how the degeneration in your spine can actually be reversed by correcting your posture and correcting your spine. Because if you remember when we took a look at these before, you can see how these have nice, thick, and full discs, right? And these don't. And remember we talked about restricted motion, right? How do the discs get their nutrition? Does anybody know? Because your discs are cartilage. So they don't have any kind of blood supply to them. Literally, how the discs grow and are nourished is by motion in your spine. It's just like a sponge, right? If you crumple up a sponge and you hold it underwater, right, and you let it go, what happens? Exactly, it expands and it fills with water, right? And when you pull it out of the water, if you squeeze that sponge, all the water squirts out, right? And your disc is no different. That constant movement that we all have to have, just like Dr. Brad said, as far as sitting and flying and stuff like that for long periods of time, it's wreaking havoc on your spine and on your joints because movement literally creates life in your spine. And as we remove those subluxations, as we correct your posture, the tissues that are all innervated by those nerves, right, just like the disc we were talking about, how those discs imbibe all that water, the tissues that are served by those nerves, as that nerve flow comes back, the tissues revitalize. They come back to life also. You know, every single minute, you have a brand new lining in your stomach. And every 7 years, every single cell in your human body is brand new. There's not a single old cell left after every 7 years. And do you think that would happen if you were subluxated? If your body wasn't getting all the right messages to tell it to do that, would you be a brand new person every 7 years? No. And does that make sense that if you're not a newer person every 7 years, 7 years from then, you're a lot older, right, than you would have been, right? You're 7 years older than you would have been. So the long-term benefits of having that nerve flow in your body is unbelievable. Because the adjustments themselves, they don't actually do the healing, right? It's the time in between your adjustments, right? When that nerve flow is 100% to your entire body, when your body is rejuvenating, when it's telling your body to divide those cells and to make a new you. It's between the adjustments. So once you correct your problem, does it only make sense that you would want to maintain that correction? Right? And I put this picture up here. This is another picture that I took in Hawaii. And you can see how the ocean has basically created a rock bridge, right, in the water. And everyone knows how this happens, right? The water constantly hitting on those rocks just eventually causes the rock to erode, right? How is that any different than in your spine, right? How many people here sit all day, like at their job? Yeah, a fair number of people, right? How many people do repetitive things at work? Like say if you worked at UPS, right, and you were constantly taking the box from here and you're putting it over there. All day you're doing this. Those are those constant stresses that are constantly going to erode at your spine. And how do we cure that? We have to keep you back where you should be, right? You have to get adjusted. You have to make sure that we counteract those stresses that that affect us every single day. And I really kind of, when I think about this, I think about how when I was in college, I was in the marching band, and I played the trumpet, and I was a pretty good trumpet player. And I knew that I had gotten better and better ever since I started playing. I started playing when I was 5. And I played the entire time until I graduated from college. So from the time that I was 5 until I was 25, I played the trumpet like all the time. And like I said, I was very good because of that. And so it's now 2010, right? So it's 5 years since I stopped. And every time I pick up my horn now, I sound like a 5th grader. And does anybody have kids like learning how to play an instrument? Anybody? It's, you know what it sounds like. and it doesn't sound good. And that's what will happen if we go back to that analogy. If you stray from the path, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. And how true that is. And that's why it's so important to stay on your regularly scheduled adjustments, right? That's why that 3 times a week in the initial stages is so important. That's why making sure that you come to the workshops so that you learn more things that you can do for yourself. So that while you're maintaining those things, you can eventually reach 100% of your life potential. You can literally optimize your health. You can be the absolute healthiest that you can be. And let me ask you guys a question. How long would you have to get adjusted to get the most out of your chiropractic care? The rest of your life. Absolutely. And that's why we create an environment here of lifers, because we know that that's what it's going to take for you to be as healthy as you can possibly be. And what's great is that our patients understand that. So just in closing, I asked Dory to come tonight. Dory, how long have you been getting adjusted?
I started March, and before that, I was always going to the hospital because they thought I'm having a high blood stroke and heart attack because of my neck. And sometimes, as if I don't have any oxygen on my head, so I'm always afraid. So I said, am I really getting old, feeling like this? And now, ever since my adjustment, I've been feeling good and I'm getting back my life. Before, I'm always dizzy. There's ringing on my ears, numbness on this side. But now it's all gone. Yeah, it helps me a lot. That's why I'm always thanking Dr. Chris every day for feeling me better and feeling good.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks. Absolutely. So thank you, Dory, for sharing that. Like she said, it changed your life, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's absolutely changed your life. And my question to you now is, who do you know that is suffering right now? Who do you know that is on that lowest rung of the ladder, that are in pain and need to know this information? Because they're one step above sickness and disease. They feel bad. And how much, and yeah, we can take care of their pain. They're going to feel better, absolutely. But is how you feel representative of how you heal? No, it's not. And Dory is a great example of that, because Dory, just since you've started feeling better, right? Since your dizziness went away, how do you think you're healing now?
Now, we just went camping for 3 days, and I feel good. Before, when we go away, I'm always thinking, the doctors are far away. Yeah, there's no 911 in here because we always go to the lake. And this time, I feel so good. I don't feel any pain. I'm just so excited to go back for my treatment again. Every day I'm looking forward for it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I thank you guys for coming out tonight. Please share this message with someone you love, because it can literally save their life. Thanks, guys.